checking go live. There we go. So, are we, okay, there we go. So I can just do this, bring it around, there we go. Okay, so, hi Dan, how you doing, my friend? How are you? It's been a while. So I'm just trying to think, I'm trying to arrange a live stream with FX Globe as well, fxglobe.com, and they have to do it through Facebook. So I'm just trying to kind of get all that sorted. And so I might have to fiddle with that a bit. Osman, hello, my man. How are you? How are you? Okay, so we're going to go through to... Let's do it this way. We'll do the 4-window thing. And I'm just going to set this up. Annoyingly, this is a bug. Pro Real Time seems to lose my... Thanks. Just going to quickly adjust these. Boom. It seems to lose this one setting. How are you guys doing? How's your trading been lately? Has anyone managed to get in on the over the last 5 or 6 weeks on any of the the strong dollar moves? You know, shorting the euro, the pound as well. Sorry, let's go this way. I need to mention this. Cool. So we have got everything here. We've got the euro. So this is my daily up here. Okay, on this side, that's my daily up here. We need to just go to my chart settings. Where was my labels and watermark? I think we can go a bit bigger on this. Oosh, that's too much. That should be okay. Yeah, daily is important. Instrument, watermark. Okay, cool. So there's your daily on the left-hand side. And there's my major levels. Don't worry about that because I've been doing a lot more kind of trading on it. And this is what I'm kind of following on the 4-hour. And there's an open trade that I'm taking on this. Okay. And can I share it? So, okay, let's have a look at your questions. How are you doing? Michael, hello, 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 hello. We've got Dan and Michael Osman. I know all you guys. I love it. Thank you. So let's, I'm going to be watching euro dollar. I'm going to be watching gold, crude oil, and the indices. And the indices are really a relatively big one. I might also have a look at Bitcoin. So in the background over here, I have got the dollar index as well. So dollar index over here, I'm going to switch it to a 4-hour. So the reason I switch it to a 4-hour is because, especially with non-farm payroll, you are going to get you're going to get 150 pip swing. And when you see it on the 1 minute, which some people do, it's crazy. And when you see it on the daily, it's not so crazy. So it's better for our mindset. Excuse my little puppy. It's better for our mindset to look at it on, say, the 4-hour, especially when you're expecting a big swing. So in other words, I could hypothetically be looking for this to swing that much. Okay, so that's a possible swing. Could it go a little bit further? Sure, could, I suppose. Could move up here. So something like this. That would be, I mean, I think that's a big swing, but it could be that. Okay, so that could be my range, and therefore I want to have a realistic expectation as to what the swing is. Because if I don't, and the swing is really wild, it just messes with your head. So it's good to know going into NFP what your expectations are. Okay. I'm just gonna, just gonna check something here. I'm trying to help out standby. Okay, let's have a look. In my settings, what's my copy? Just looking at my email address. Cool. Okay, so it could be like this. You could have a swing like this. You could have that, or you can have that. But either way, my expectation is in about this range. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Then we've got over here, we've got a whole lot of things. Euro dollar. So the daily is really what's magical here. If we're quickly going to have a look at this, we've had a very steady downtrend, very steady. But also, we've had 11 or 12 weeks in a row, which has not happened in my experience. And therefore, we're overdue for a correction to the upside. It's not even really the distance. The distance it's traveled is not the most. I mean, when I look at last year, this traveled a lot further than it did over. So if you had 12 candles here, the distance was a lot further. So it hasn't really traveled a big distance, but it has traveled consistently, and that's very unusual. And it took me a while to work out what it is, and it is short-term bonds. It took me a while to work out, but the dollar has become very attractive as a result of the shorter-term bonds, and therefore, and that is the biggest difference between this year and last year. Shorter-term bonds make the dollar relatively attractive, and so that has, I think, that's my opinion, that is what has been driving it. Anyway, so we've got an uptrend here so the time frames go daily, 4 hourly, 1 hourly, 15 minutes. Okay, 15 minutes. We'll switch it to a 5-minute chart for the purposes of today, so we can see the move. And my expectation for now is that we should see this continue to move up, give or take. Sterling is even more overextended, and when you look at it from a daily perspective, it wants to come up to these levels. Does this mean that it's a guaranteed change of direction? No, but we need a weekly retracement, if nothing else. We need at least we need a 30%, at some point soon, we need, I would say, a 30% move back up from this move to the downside. Doesn't have to happen. We've seen a really strong dollar last year where it was unrelenting, and now we're seeing very strong dollar as well. But when we do get that retracement, which could be kicked off today, we would see that. Dollar yen. So dollar yen is going to be interesting. It does its own thing. You can see the start of a bit of intervention here, a little bit of them kind of getting a bit twitchy, a little bit of that. 150 is there. Kind of line in the sand, so I want to be aware of that. Then we have gold. Gold is just, look at it slowing right down. So this is wanting to start a bit of a retracement, but it's in a range. It's in a range. And actually looking at it here, it looks like it wants to go down, but you can see the bullish divergence. So that also wants to move out, and it's stuck in a range. Silver as well. So silver I've drawn in the range. So there's your silver is drawn in the range. Want to have that move up. Overextended to the downside, needs a bit of a retracement, maybe back up. So this week what we might have, next week is the retracement, and then it's a shorter term daily uptrend, continues down. Then we've got light crude oil. Light crude oil on the daily is actually in a really good place to bounce back. It's a great place. So let's see if we get a bounce from that. We'll see. And then we look at the indices. indices are just, the indices, it's more about what's going on the monthly. So the indices are at a major level where they could really do with a nice bullish finish. Really could do with that. S&P as well. It's a great place. When you look at a chart, it's a great place for it to turn around in, to produce a bullish October candle or to stay where it is for now. So we really need to see what's going to happen there. Russell's at the bottom of the range. That would be a great place for it to turn around, bounce back. The FTSE, I don't have real-time data on, and the DAX, this area is also a really good place for it to turn around. So I'm wondering if today will be either the last of the pushing down before it finds its footing and recovers. In other words, for example, it would move down to about here, stabilize, and then next week, by the end of next week, we've moved up. So in other words, we've got a nice bullish weekly candle. Or if today is going to be the point at which it turns around. But we could still get strong jobs numbers out of the US. The thing is that whether you get that strong jobs numbers and what the market does, they don't have to correlate. We could get another strong jobs report and the market can go, okay, we've just had enough of buying the US dollar, we're going to take a bit of a breather. So in my experience, it's nice to take note of the news, but it can correlate with the market and it also cannot correlate with the market. So I don't want to invest into that too much. So we're going to go to the euro dollar. We'll go back down to the daily and we'll watch this chart to see what happens. I'm going to remove all the clutter. I'll explain to you what that trade idea was. Just checking all the comments. Do I think Aussie CAD will continue to fall and drop off the weekly chart? There's a level there. There's a level there, and there's bullish divergence. So, and we've got a higher low here. So if we break above that, I would expect, at least for now, to see this try to work its way up towards here. This one. Okay, there's a level there. You got a breakthrough. Am I expecting long indices if the dollar index come down? Yes, I am. In short. It's a simple answer, but yeah. Do I look at weekly pivot points? Weekly pivot points are good. Pivot points overall, really good tool to use. I don't have them because I've just reduced the clutter on my charts. But yes, I approve of using weekly pivot points as support and resistance levels, for sure. Okay. Sorry. Not sure where my sinuses are blocked up. It's going to look like I just had a big fat line of cocaine, but I didn't, I promise. Okay. All right. So, yeah, as I looked at larger swings. So let's have a look. We've got 2 minutes until it goes. Let me just talk you through what I was looking at for some of these things. So like euro dollar. So euro dollar on the 4 hour produced this very nice bullish candle. So something that will happen for most of you. I didn't expect it. No one told me it was going to happen. But over the last couple of years, I have identified my own pattern. It's basically a double bottom. I'm very good at spotting them, but it's something that my eye now observes, and so I tend to spot them, and they work relatively well. So in other words, if I had to create my own personal strategy, that would be the first one that I would create. That would be mine, created from scratch. But it's basically this. Price is overextended, comes to a level of support. You can see there's a double bottom here. Usually amongst the criteria in the strategy, there's a bullish engulfing candle. The bullish engulfing candle often represents that's the turning point. Anyway, so then we break upwards from there. So we've got an uptrend from here on the 4 hour. And what's cool about this is that when you look on the 1 hour, you can kind of see a double bottom as well. So here you can see price came down, double bottomed. You've got your bullish engulfing candle. You've got your bullish MACD, and it took off from there. So this happened in real time, and therefore I marked that as the trade idea. So actually, you would be more here. You could put your stop loss below the low of the candle or below that. And that's it. Wow, look at that. Okay, so we got the stronger dollar. Stronger dollar. There we go. Big move. Let's go have a look at it on here. I was talking too much. There's your move. Stronger dollar. Let's have a look and see. Very, very important. Do I think euro yen? I'll get to that stuff afterwards. Let's have a look at it for the dollar index as I looked at a large swing. I did. It's usually, it could be 150 pip. That's I can't say that's the official amount, but it is common. So yeah, have a look at that. So let's get some perspective here. Let's get some perspective here. When you look at the 4 hourly, that's not a massive move. Excuse me. When you look at it on the 1 hour, it's a big move. So what's happened here is it's broken the 1 hour trend. We've without a doubt broken that low. Will this hold? Doesn't look like we've broken it. So I do expect it to go further down. We've broken it. I expect it to go further down, but it might only come down to here. Okay. This trend is still intact. So believe it or not, the 4 hour on the euro dollar is still intact until we break these levels. I would also add that the MACD has just gone bullish, just gone above zero. So you've got an uptrending MACD and we've just gone above zero. These are just little ticks in the box that say it's bullish. Okay. So you can see that strong dollar. So let's go see what was the result. What was the result? There we go. So unemployment rate was 1%, 0.1% lower than forecast, same as last time. So that's good. Non-farm, 300. That's just, these are massive jobs numbers, guys. They are historically good. Some people, I love Biden. I think he's the best president the US could have asked for, but not the one they thought they needed, but the one they need. But some people don't like him. Some people don't, they think he's old and doddery and he's not effective. Fine. So whatever your opinion, there's no doubt that the jobs numbers and the US economy is in the best shape it has been in 50 to 60 years. And don't even take it from me. That's coming from everyone else. And I will tell you why. I think he's old-fashioned. He's been around since the dawn of time. I think he's doing stuff the way they used to do it in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. I think he's trying to build the middle class. He's not a fan of the 1% controlling everything. He wants to make sure the middle class is strong and healthy. And so he's creating policies that feed the middle class, which stabilizes everything, lifts the lower 20%, and it chips down on the control from the big guys. That's what I like about him. So, and there's a lot of really negative media, but actually, if you know what he's doing, it's really good. So another killer jobs report. It's insane. Unemployment has remained at 3.8 from last month. That's good, because remember, everyone thinks the world's going to crash. Everyone thinks there's a massive recession coming. So they're really going to be watching the unemployment rate. That's the one you're going to be watching, and it's staying the same. And Canadian as well, CAD unemployment 5.5%. Those are, even if you don't like Biden, the numbers are undeniably good, and they're historic. US has never had such a long, consistent supportive thing, which is why the market tends to be, there we go, so we're coming down to here, we'll see if this holds, but it's why the market tends to be relatively bullish. Let me just check these. Cool, that's good. I'm just checking a few other things here. That's good. That's good. Wow. That's good. Okay. That's good. Checking all my trading accounts. All right. So please note that this could change. Possibly by the close of the market today, it can go the other way. So this could be a off-the-cuff reaction, but it's pretty. Look, I'm trying to get some perspective. This is your daily chart. That candle is not ridiculous. The 4 hour is, this is your area where we could still be intact. So if this level holds, we could find it by the time we go home tonight or by the time the market's closed, we could be up here, and then the market that we could still see a turnaround. So it's very important to really leave non-farm. In fact, Larry Williams said this, you let Friday just bake and then see how Monday goes. Because there's this thing called the weekend, there's a name for it, I forget, but it's something about people over the weekend suddenly reassess their positions, the decisions they made on Friday, and then often on Monday, the very first thing they do is get out of those positions. So there's a reversal on Monday. Not every weekend, but some weekends it can happen. So we really want to kind of watch that. We would, having come back here, this would just be a triple bottom. There's a bounce, a bounce, a bounce, and it goes. Let's have a look and see if that's the case. I do think, even if we do this, I think soon we are in for a turnaround on these things, on the daily. This is your daily. So even if we do end up coming down here, I think we would get bullish divergence and we will get a shift around. So I do think in our near future, even if it doesn't happen now, I think there's a good chance that we're going to see a shift happen probably between this week and next week. Very interesting seeing all of this happen. So how does sterling look? So sterling took a bit of a move. It's still above the high low, not as big a move. Let's look at dollar yen. Dollar yen moved to the upside, heading back up towards 150. So remember, 150 is their line in the sand, big one. Do I think that they would intervene at 150? No. I think that when it hits 150 or it's in that area, they're going to start pushing back a bit. But I don't think they want to. I don't think they want to intervene in a really big way anytime soon. Gold. How's gold? So gold took a bit of a move, just breaking outside of the range. We'll see. We'll see. Silver, still in the range. So silver is still in the range. It's looking weaker. This is a very much more of a bearish pattern. It's got lots of buys at the bottom propping it up, but I would call that is a bearish kind of, let's just call it a floor. So that I would watch. Crude oil not struggling at all. So that's fine. No real struggle. Let's look at the indices. Dow, nothing. S&P, nothing. Yeah, they're okay. They're fine. Look at them. They're holding up. The DAX. They're fine. So far, no impact on those. Cryptos, Bitcoin. Okay, so Bitcoin took against the dollar. Makes sense. And cryptos are, let's be honest, a type of currency. Well, crypto, the clue's in the name. Okay, so questions. Do I think Euro Yen will continue to rise and go up off the weekly chart? Yes, but we've got to keep in mind what the Bank of Japan wants to do with their thing. Look at this consolidation. So that's been arguably a while there. Got a nice measurement tool here. You can just measure from here to there. So you can see how long it's been there. 3 months, 6 days, 14 bars. And even if you bring it to back up to about here, you've got 8 bars. So that's 8 weeks. 8 weeks. 1 month, 25 days, almost 2 months where it's been stuck in this range. It's been stuck in that range, but it's trying to break out. So that you could argue that could be this could be a possible. This is your range, so I'm going to just frame it. Let's do that. That's my range. So from here, I need either a bearish breakout candle that closes far below that, ideally below that, or a bullish breakout candle that closes above that. Those are your, that's it. That's your attempted breakouts. And most of those, like 80% of those, will be successful breakouts. Most of them. Look at the bearish MACD coming in here. So it's getting weaker. So the implication is that this is possibly going to have a correction down here. I would look at all the yen pairs to see how they're doing. So let's just say I went to my calculated instruments. These are my ones. And so here I have created them. These are my own indices. So I can go here and I can look at the JPY index and I can see how it looks. And the JPY index overall looks really similar. So this is all the yen pairs in an index. So you can see how similar they look. They're all in the same kind of place. Consolidations, they're not really going anywhere. I would say this. I would say that the momentum for the yen pairs is not as strong as it was over here. I would be more cautious. I'm not actively trading all the yen pairs, not with as much enthusiasm as I was before. They're not where I think the real money is right now. They could keep going, but I'm more cautious is what I mean to say. Okay. Where we at now? Where we at now? Cool. This is still holding at that level. It's trying to. Still trying to hold at that level. Can I ask a question, guys? Are all the lines and the drawings on the chart too much? Is it too noisy for you? Can you see it or not see it? Just let me know. So the trade idea here was to enter on the high that ideally take profit at 2 to 1, which it did hit, and take half your profit at 2 to 1 and then move your stop loss up. So because it was non-farm payroll, not on, you know, if it was any other day, if it was just a normal Friday, I might not have done that. But because NFP, there's a good chance the market's going to swing either way. So I can remove this now because I don't need that anymore. And now it's a little bit cleaner. And this move was for the trade idea. And this is what we see on the daily. So that's what I think is a good chance of happening on the daily. I'm going to get rid of this. And I'm going to get rid of these things here. I think here you can see that divergence creeping in. Bullish divergence on the creeping is starting to look like it wants to go. Just get rid of some of these things here. Clean it up. Michael, thanks. You too, hey? Thank you very much. Cool. So I think, yeah, I think there's pressure. Look at this. It's bouncing back and it's trying to keep pushing down. The drawings are fine. Okay, cool. Because I do worry sometimes. I mean, you should only have, I shouldn't have as many as I do. The number of lines on this is ridiculous. What's going on with all this stuff here? So if we go up to the monthly, that's okay. But that's a lot of lines, you know? I don't know what these things are. It's just so many of them. I think I'm going to get rid of these. There we go. There we go. That's much better. Look at that. There we go. I also, by the way, don't add as many daily lines as I used to. So I have monthly, which is green, and then I have weekly, which is red. And that's kind of it. I don't worry about the rest too much. Every now and again, I'll put in a daily. If there's clearly a level I need to be paying attention to right now, like this area here, then I'll put in the daily there. But I don't worry too much about it because my logic is this. I'm looking at the weekly candles. So I want to see where the weekly is going to go. And then I presume the daily will work its way through that. But not everyone will do that. Do I think both Aussie US dollar and Kiwi dollar will both fall and drop off the weekly chart? You know, they're showing a lot more strength. They're showing a lot more strength. So if you look here, sterling has been very, very weak. This has got a bit of bullish formation. It might keep going. This is a bit of a break and a retest. When you look at it here, support, 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 then it breaks through, then it comes and falls through. It could find resistance here and keep going. But overall, it's not as weak, excuse me, as Kiwi dollar is. I mean, as sterling is. They still look, because they had a lot of heavy selling, they don't look as weak. They don't seem as weak anymore. I mean, this one as well. Look at Kiwi. Kiwi's done. Like, it's been stuck in this range. It doesn't really want to go much further, so the Kiwi is quite strong. So I would count the Kiwi as quite strong in that respect. Okay, so let's run through these again. So euro dollar, I'm expecting this to turn around in the near future. It's starting to slow down. So you've got a big move, small pullback, big move, small pullback, big move, smaller pullback. Not as much of a move because that low to that low, and now it's coming back up. It's almost back up there. Those are all very slow signs of the momentum not being as bearish. However, we'll keep an eye on this. And again, what could happen, very realistically, comes down, double bottoms here, or a bit further, bullish divergence continues, and then it reverses. And when it reverses, then it's really strong. Sterling. Sterling hasn't broken this low yet, so it's still trying to push back. So this is what I do. I assume that the market is honestly communicating to me what it wants to do. but the market can try and fail. So what does that mean? It means the market now is trying to turn around, but the dollar comes out today and it's still strong, and so it pushes back. And then next week, the dollar, and then eventually even the dollar gets tired, and then the euro and the pound are like, okay, and then the battle starts to move. But you can see the signs of when the market is now trying to push back or when it's not. And now I can see the signs of the euro and the pound starting to push back in the charts. I can see it. Hopefully that makes sense. So let's have a look at gold again. So gold is just weak at the moment, very, very weak. Ran out of steam, pushing down. Also signs of it stalling a bit, running a bit out of steam. It's weak anyway, because you can see if you compare that to Kiwi dollar as an instrument, you look at one instrument against the dollar and this instrument against the dollar, the one is holding up fine, this one isn't. So it tells you gold is weak, relatively speaking. Silver's not as weak. Silver is not getting its ass kicked the way gold is. So you can see that. Like crude. A little bit lower. There you can see that move down. So I was talking about this. Is mine delayed? Hold on. Delayed 10 minutes. Sorry. So I was saying this wasn't taking a hit at all. It was delayed. Not all my data is real time. My bad. This stuff is also delayed, is it? Yeah, there we go. Also delayed 10 minutes. Just dust it. There we go. It's a big hit. Okay. Not so much on the daily. But yeah, sufficiently here. We've broken through this potential bullish line. There was a possible attempt here at trying to do a bit of a breakout, and it's a failed breakout. So it looks pretty bad. Look at the S&P. Also struggling to get out. There was a bump there and a bump there. Can't get out just yet. NASDAQ. Yeah, they're struggling. It's a strong dollar. So based off this, if the euro is right, we're going to see the turn next week. For now, let's just assume we've got another, dollar is still strong. Okay, DAX is okay. Overall, they're not terrible. It's not terrible. Look at the S&P. It's not shockingly bad. But yeah, that dollar is still kind of very much in play. Let's go back to the euro dollar. So we've got that delay. It's still pushing lower. Let's see. We'll see if these levels hold. Bitcoin will be a similar type of issue. Yeah. Within this thing. So it's really important that I have the 4 charts so that I can get a sense of perspective, what's going on. We are now forming a bearish engulfing candle on the daily. So I think what we're going to see is a continuation down, but I think we're near the bottom. So you could get, not an unlimited number of things could happen here. There's a finite number of things that could happen here. Monday could end up being a bullish engulfing and it goes round. We could see a continuation down and a double bottom and a turnaround, or we could see a break lower and then any bullish signals here. So if we break the low here and then we get a strong rejection, bullish rejection candle, a low test bar, something like that would be nice, really nice and bullish. Or, I mean, any of these would be very nice, something like that. But you know what I'm looking for? I'm looking for a beautiful, that one. That's what I'm looking for. Beautiful bar like that, or a full-bodied bullish engulfing candle. If we get one of those in this area, somewhere here, who knows? That would be nice. Move down, boom. Then we would start to see a move. And in fact, it probably wouldn't even stop here. It would just go all the way up to here probably, or something a little bit higher. That dollar winning. Any other questions, guys? Any other question? I'm just checking my accounts. That's okay. I'm happy with that. Very happy with that. And very happy with this. Woof, what a day. What a day. I'll show you a real account very quickly. I'll show you a real account. Very nice. Just gonna show you, I'm just gonna bring it up here and grab a screen grab of it. So far, not bad. It's nice. I like this one. So 3.7 for so far into October, and where we are now, 28.2. Yeah, it's nice. It's not so bad. So I quite like that. I was actually up 5% in September, and then I had to cut some positions. So I came back down. I'm hoping I'll get another good month over here somewhere. So you can see the kind of difference. Relatively good. Boom. Look at this. Okay, so now what can I take away from this? I think we can expect this for most of the day. We're probably going to see it keep going. So I think we're going to see possibly a move down towards those lows. Next week, we're going to see a little bit of a continuation. If we look at it from a weekly perspective, so what happens on the weekly? Let's have a quick market analysis before I do my Sunday one. Yeah, US dollar. Look, I have a theory. I think that the bonds are good money right now. I think that's added to the appeal of the US dollar. So forget about the strong economy, but I think it's added to the US dollar. So there is a bit of a housing crisis. So let's go through them very quickly. 5 more minutes. There's definitely a housing bubble because houses have become too expensive over the last 10 years. A big part of that is the same reason they got expensive in 2007, 2009 was actually just people are now broadly more educated about property. People want more property more than they ever used to. It's not exactly the same environment. The banks don't lend as much. People aren't exposing themselves financially as much. Credit card debt, still not really great. So those two things are not really ideal. But most people are employed. Jobs are pretty good. The UK economy is doing good, better than 4 or 5 years ago. Inflation is definitely still a problem, but not in all areas, only in some areas. So there are bubbles or pockets, and those are problems. But when I see the social media and I see a lot of people on YouTube talking about, oh my God, this is the worst thing, they're being very dramatic. If everything else is healthy and you have a housing bubble, then it simply means the housing market is overpriced and it needs to correct. And so the best thing you can do is if it's too expensive for you and you can't afford it and you have a choice, don't get involved. Just don't get involved, wait for the bubble to burst. And when it bursts, in theory, what's supposed to happen is the people who've helped push the prices and make it so expensive are ultimately the ones who will pay the price. But obviously in amongst that, you get innocent people who've bought a house and then, they're at their end, the end of their means. But yes, I think I don't think stocks are overbought. I don't think the stock market's overpriced. I think housing is overpriced, especially in some countries, in the US and so on. I think cars are overpriced. There's a lot of desire now for people to buy cars. When your second-hand car market is the same or more expensive than buying it brand new, you're in a bubble, no doubt about it. But in other places, I think it's more reasonable. Like we also have corporations declaring historic profits. So you can't, they're keeping prices high. There's no doubt about it. We don't have the same supply chain issues that we used to anymore. So there's a great book, guys, great book called Factfulness. If you watch it, it's also a very, very good, good book. Gives you some really, really nice data on what's going on here? There we go. It's a great book. Also, it also tells you how actually the quality of life in general is better today than it was 20 years ago. There's amazing things. We have climate crisis. That's real. We have corruption issues. Those are real. But other things are so much better. So it's an amazing book. Just gets you to kind of put things in proportion. Allows you to go, okay, that's a problem. That's not a problem. Instead of doing this thing where everything's a problem. Okay. Cool. I'm sorry, I'm not lecturing. I just thought I'd talk about this very quickly. Another down week for euro dollar. Sterling. You can see the wick starting to come in. So there's no wick there, no wick there, no wick there. But now we've got a wick here, we've got a wick here. So it's pushing back up. You're going to see more of that as we approach this level. Then I think we're going to see a turnaround. So maybe it's one more week, but it might only be another 100 pips. It might not be insanely far off. Aussie dollar just breaking outside this range. We'll see what happens there. You can see a bit of a double bottom happening there, pushing back. We'll see. Kiwi dollar not wanting to go any further. Dollar yen keeps wanting to go, but it's running out of steam. That's almost a hanging man. So hanging man is when you get a long run and then you get effectively a doji, usually with a little bit of a small body at the top. And that's often can be that, or a hammer. Depends on how you want to kind of frame it. Then we have a look at gold, and then I'm going to wrap this up. Gold, another down week, but here's our next level. So yeah, why not go down to 1800 and then reverse? And you can see it battling it out. Silver, another down week. So we're looking at this now. We're looking at this first chart. Another down week, but down to support. Then we've got crude oil, still in an uptrend. This is a beautiful place for it to come back to. Beautiful. Very, very nice place for it to come back to. Trying to get it to there. And what is its fib level? So from there to there, it's past the 618. Okay, that's a deeper retracement than normal. But it's a 50% retracement there. Yeah, so I think we're still 38250. We're still fine on that if you take it from there. But this is a slightly deeper retracement from there. That's not great. So but it's a nice price-wise. It's a very nice place for it to find some support. Then very quickly the indices, another down week. This is where I want to see this. I want to see what happens here. I'd like to see us close back up above that level if we can. Not the S&P. That's okay. It's all right. That's okay. It's not so bad on the NASDAQ. The Russell coming back down within the range. That's okay. FTSE, no. DAX. Let's have a look at the DAX. Look at this on a monthly. I needed this to have a deeper correction anyway, so I can go all the way down here. I'm okay with that. Then we'll have a look at, like, what's Tesla doing? Tesla's fine. Tesla, well, hasn't opened yet. The market hasn't opened yet. Bitcoin, not a problem. So it's not whacking everything, guys. It's not whacking everything. Meaning it's not, you know, okay, so this is going to test these levels of support, but this is done now, so we get rid of that. Then we'll just see if it holds at this level. Okay, so that is everything from me. One last look at the dollar index over here. Numbers are good. Let's have a look at dollar index. I wasn't far off, I don't think. That was just a guess. So if I just take this and I do it from where we were, it's roughly right, you know, like roughly that. We went through that level. Let's see if this level holds, but that's a bullish engulfing candle. So we'll probably see the dollar strengthen a bit. Maybe what will happen again is it'll come up to this level again, and then a second rejection, and then we'll have a deeper correction. So that'll be the same as the euro dollar going down to the level. This is all going to be in my Sunday video anyway. Okay. And then, yeah, that's it. All right, so questions and then we'll wrap up. Do I think there will be a property market crash? I think in the US, the property market is too expensive in many areas, not in all areas. I can tell you this, in the US, their average salary is better than our average salary in the UK, for sure. Not just a little bit more. It's not even offset by inflation. They make more money than we do. There's no doubt about it. They definitely earn a lot more. If I have a job here, it might be £80,000. It might be $200,000, $150,000 to $200,000 in the US. So it's, you know, it's like, it's a different market. What's the difference between a woman and a battery? I don't know. What's the difference? Do I think there'll be a property market crash? I do think that there's a high probability that a lot of the markets that it's expensive. I'm not so sure in the UK. It's a little bit overpriced, but it's not as overpriced. In other words, it's just always more expensive. Like if something was selling now for 900,000, if there was a correction, it would come down to 750. I don't think, and then within a few years, within 5 years, it'll be back up on that one. Yeah. Ah, there we go. Actually, I would say that, you know, I always talk about the interesting optimistic people versus pessimistic people, and optimism as an approach. Optimism is just statistically a better approach to take because it makes you try rather than give up. Because pessimistic people think of themselves as the realists, but really what they often are is scared. I'm generalizing, but they're often quite scared. And so optimistic people are willing to try things that pessimistic people aren't, and so they tend to succeed. In fact, I think that if you looked at a lot of successful profiles, you'd find out they are optimistic. You can be conservative, but being conservative and being pessimistic are two different things. Okay, so ladies and gents, I'm going to let you go now. Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure. and I will look forward to seeing you in the next one. And as well, I'll if there's any suggestion of content you want me to do, let me know. All right, I'm gonna end the stream. Thank you. I want to wish you a wonderful weekend. I'll do my video on Sunday. Anything you want me to put in that, anything you want me to have a look at, let me know. Okay, cool. Let's go through and test this.